For those of you that don't know Cities Alliance, we're a network ourselves of over 20 years. And I mean, SDI is in our network, Reels in our network, who are also on this call, but also local governments, multilaterals, and national government is in our network. And Sheila, as you know, urban poverty in secondary cities is our core work. And over the last 20 years, we've worked probably in over 170 cities in 88 countries when we last counted. With a focus on slum upgrading, basic services, migration, gender, and resilience. But the one thing that is very important to us is that the engaging, working with, and putting slum dwellers themselves right at the center of our work is very, very important to us and part of our ethos. Just four reflections. It has struck me, I mean, I've only been in Cities Alliance for the last year and a half, but it was quite a learning experience recently when I was in Uganda and was one of the communities with SDI. We work very closely with and have done for some time. And we had originally gone into this community saying, we want to put, can we look at getting water and sanitation and electricity into this community? And they told us to go away. We don't want your water and we don't want your electricity. And the reason why, when they explained to us, was the moment you put your infrastructure into our land, a big car with a government official or a rich businessman is going to pitch up here in 2 weeks and we'll be evicted because you will increase the value of our land. So when you have a community saying we don't want water, we don't want sanitation because of the fear of eviction, the foundation for everything we do has to be land tenure, ownership, and no evictions. If you don't get that right, everything else will fail. And that's been the big learning for me. And Joe was talking earlier. And here a well-known development agency, together with the government of Kenya, put in a road very recently, right through an informal settlement, right through the middle of it, without even talking to that community. And the photographs around it of these communities sitting in the rubble is just heartbreaking. Our government's put an infrastructure for progress, but progress for who? An infrastructure for who? So one of the things that we really want to do, and we urge other people to work with us on this, is how do you leverage big infrastructure for the urban poor? Not for the rich, but for the urban poor. So this whole area of land tenure for me is the biggest foundation. The second, as Joe said, is we need to move governments away from we're going to build 5,000 houses or 10,000 houses. It's doomed to fail. 80% of the slum upgrading is done by the communities themselves. So once we've given them the land tenure, let's see how we can work with communities and with governments to facilitate that process. The third, of course, is resilience. And this is becoming, as the last speaker just said, it's becoming more and more important. Because we're going to have land tenure, you're going to have your upgraded slum, and then the next typhoon and storm is going to just sweep it all away. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And as one of your, Sheila, as one of your SDI colleagues said at the last COP, we didn't create this crisis, but we are going to be the ones who suffer from this crisis more than everyone else. So resilience is going, must go right up the agenda for all of us. And then my fourth and last point is the only way we can do this is through coherence of effort. And that's why networks are so important. But these networks can't be networks for the sake of talking. Because then you sit here and we all agree with each other, we talk to each other, we each agree with each other, and then we go back to our work. Coherence of effort is more than talking. So a network like this, roof over our heads, a network like Cities Alliance, this is where the work needs to happen, where you get the coherence of effort across national governments, private sector, slum dwellers, innovators. So yes, we will absolutely support this initiative as another network, because that helps with the coherence of effort. Now I'll just leave it at that point. Thanks, Sheila.